Alright, I'm going to make a quick and dirty little video about this Loto. I do have maybe one or two other videos out there about it that are a little more detailed. I'm just going to briefly go through it, mostly for my own reference, in case I come back to it, 6 months from now, forget how to use it. It's not really terribly complicated. That's like a zoom mode. So these are your zoom keys. This thing just collapses the window. And here's a, zoom for the axes. So, you can zoom in on the axis and out on the x-axis. Although I don't know if it's working that way. See, I got the logic analyzer up, and my Loto is an OSC2002X, and it came with an 8-channel logic probe. Which can be a bit finicky. But you can use the PC cache, for looking at signals in the logic probe. If you actually stop the device, and you can kind of scroll through your signal history here, and you set the number of buffers. The default's like 20 or something like that, but I got it set up to 500, so you got 500 buffers you can scroll through. Every buffer corresponds to one window here, but it's actually pretty convenient, because like I said, if you're looking for some weird glitch or something like that, you can use the scroll wheel on the mouse to scroll back and forth through it, like you see me doing here. And look on your main window here. You can actually zoom in and out, period. And apparently, you can supposedly save the data, but every time I try this gives me an error or something. Let's see. Yep, see, just like that. So that's a little bug they have in the program. I got a transcoder, which supposedly allows you to save the data in one frame at a time or something. And I'm not really sure, what the details are, because some of this stuff feels a little dodgy. See, PC cache, you're supposed to pull up a PC cache somewhere. You got these in here. Nope, I didn't find anything. Nope, I didn't find anything. So, that's nice, but since I can't save the freaking cache, there's nothing I can do. That's what I tried doing before, save PC cache. So if you can't save this, you're just screwed. This is the newest version of the software too. Let me make sure of that. Is this in Chinese? Yeah, this is the newest version. All this shit's in Chinese. This is your Bode plotter, basically. So it works in consort with your. It's actually a separate standalone program, and they don't really tell you that. That's why it disappears when I click back on this. It's actually standalone. But anyway, it works in consort with the function generator. To set it up, you gotta, I guess turn the thing on, but I don't have it plugged in right now. But you set it up and you click this frequency tolerance thing, and since it is an external program, you also got to set some things here, like measurement value sharing, because apparently this thing will send the measurements out on the serial bus as a serial bus through the USB cable to communicate with this other program. And in fact, you can do that kind of thing over here with this and kind of make your own custom software. That's what this is for. It's for actually communicating with the PC over a serial port like COM3 or whatever you set it to. And these are all the commands you can send to your software and stuff, so you can make your own program. And I guarantee you they use something just like that, because for this to work you got to do the same thing. You've got to enable those settings up here. So, but apparently when you enable this thing, that allows again an external serial program to control the function generator. So and again, this function generator will generate a square wave up to 1 megahertz, and a triangle wave up to 8 megahertz and a sine wave up to 13. So, but even approaching 1 megahertz, this really is a crummy looking sine wave. It certainly isn't a 50% duty cycle, I'll tell you that. But at any rate, you can manually sweep this thing, and you can set it to sweep repeatedly by hitting the cyclic button here, and then you can use the fur filter, which you should use if you're using that Bode plotter I showed you earlier in Chinese. My older version of the software, it was just before this, it's not in Chinese, so it's just a temporary glitch they got. The older version was from October of last year, a few months ago or whatever. But at any rate, so that's a frequency generator, and here's a decoder. You usually use that specifically with sometimes your channels, and sometimes like this is for SPI, and it's kind of crummy because SPI you can't actually set up a trigger, so you're just kind of screwed if you want to trigger your signal. Now if you went to like I2C or something, you can actually set it up as channel A, because channel A on this thing, is the only, I mean, again, this is a really good piece of equipment for the amount you pay for it. I mean, you can't complain too much, especially if you just bought the $100 version. That's even a better deal, honestly, if you're like wanting a test lab and you're new to electronics or whatever. But you can set your triggers up over here. See, this is channel A right here, and this is channel B, but it disables it when you use the logic analyzer. If I turn the logic analyzer off, it'll bring channel B back. But this is where you set your triggers. So, because you can use, for example, you can decode I2C using nothing but the scope probes, so channel A and B. But you can set it to some of the logic channels, so this allows you to set it from 0 to 5, so 6 logic channels, and you can see the result when you're actually decoding. I've certainly gotten it to work with the UART, so you get all these protocols, but like I said in a small little video I made, this is what was needed to communicate with my analog discovery, generating a little, test signal, over the UART, RS232. But but like I said, this one, you can use analog only as well, and you can set it as channel B if you wanted to, or none, if you're not expecting to receive communications or transmit, I guess. That's a transmit. I don't know what you're supposed to do with it, because you can't actually transmit. As far as I can tell, I mean, this is just a listener, as far as I can tell. You can't, but you can hook it up to a transmit line, though, and monitor the serial communications. It's just, you can't actually act like a master of any kind in here like you can on the analog discovery, which if you want to pay $400, great. But on the other hand, that's got some quirks to it too. It's not perfect, but I mean, but it does allow you to actually act like a bus master. You can, on it, you can actually communicate with like a peripheral or something like that if you wanted to use it as test bed. But again, it's got some quirks. I'd almost just as soon build my own, because it seems rather inflexible in many ways, especially on SPI, because SPI is just really a glorified shift register, is all it really is at its basic level, and it's a very versatile bus because of that, because it is just basically a glorified shift register channel. It doesn't need to be any more complicated with, it just has a few simple electrical protocols to it that you got to configure right, but other than that, it's really just a shift register, and you can actually use it with shift registers, believe it or not. So, they've been around since well before SPI was ever created. But at any rate, but yeah, you got these different protocols you can decode. But again, this is really only good as a listener if you're looking at decoding. But again, you know, things I did like about this is that it didn't have too many probes. You know, like you see the analog discovery, it has like 16 channels hanging off. You got all these wires running everywhere, and it's annoying. In fact, even on this one, I would rather have actually had, you know, the $100 version that only has like 3 or 4 channels. You know, just so I have less probes in the way, because you know, really, you almost don't need any more logic channels than that these days. You know, you're mostly decoding serial buses and so forth. So the fewer the better, honestly, you know, because I've definitely got logic analyzers with you know, like 32 channels and crap like that, you know, and it's just all that stuff is not only intimidating, but it's really annoying on your test bench, you know, having all these fucking wires running everywhere. So anyway, you know, it's kind of nice to actually have a minimalistic system like the Loto. So again, if you buy the sub $100 version, you know, it just has like I think they got 6 leads on their probe, including the power and the PWM pin and stuff like that. So I mean, it's in 3 or 4 logic channels. I think it's 4 if you include the channel A, but I think it has 3, but I could be wrong. It might be 4, but I know it has 6 leads on it. So you know, this one has well, let me show you if I can find it. Yeah, this one has you know, see, that's the one with the cheap one, so it has 6 leads on it. You know, mine had 10, so it actually is an 8-channel deal. So apparently I have a model too that only has 6, but anyway, you know, this instruction booklet, like I said, you can get this off the internet, you know, at their website, and just look up Loto, you know, instruments or whatever. And if you want to go, let's see if I can find that. I don't know if I can on this computer. This analog discovery stuff. Let's see. Other devices. Analog discovery. Loto oscilloscopes. I think this might be it, but it doesn't really identify it that well. Yeah, you know, this is it. Almost all the damn videos on here are in Chinese. Some of them are closed captioned, but even those, half of them are closed captioned in Chinese. So I mean, it really, you know, they do need to work on that quite a bit. Their videos are actually quite good, but a very, very small number of them are in English. You know, I think I've only seen like 3 or 4 of them that are. But anyway, it's this Tau LV, you know, so if you look that up on YouTube or Google it, you know, you can see their videos anyway. And again, a lot of them do have subtitles, just most of them don't. Either have anything or they're in Chinese subtitles, or, you know. But at any rate, you know, you can find what you're looking for. There's like 100 videos on here. It's a, you know, really big playlist. So actually, this isn't it. But
这个视频介绍一下劳特示波器新。
But yeah, if you go look at their videos, you know, you can, you know, see there's quite a damn few of them, and you know, most of them are pertinent to most of their devices. Just depends on what you're wanting to buy. But anyway, you know, this right here is a spectrum analyzer. So, and this adds marks to it. This allows you to zoom in to it. But you know, there are, you know, kind of limits to some of these things. You know, 380 kilohertz is what it's defaulting to here. But you know, you can kind of enter your own frequency range here, but let's see if it identifies. I don't think it'll be able to identify anything really here as far as the fundamentals are concerned. And we're looking at square waves here, so you know, it's going to have a lot of THD. You know, this marks feature actually, you know, identifies the fundamentals. Let me look at that again. Yeah, this, I guess, yeah, I mean, it's in a regular signal, so, I mean, you know, you're going to have a hard time doing that without a, you know, square wave or regular square wave or sine wave applied to it. This is kind of a Ewert communications channel, I think. If it is, let's see. Yeah, it is. So, let's see. No, I need to go the other way, I guess. Okay, and then we can go back to the decoder here. Okay, you can kind of see the result. And this message is actually hello is what it is. So it's just hello over and over and over again. That's coming from the analog discovery. But yeah, that kind of shows you how the decoder works. So, you know, you got the data bit, your stop bit, your start bit, and no parity in this. But at any rate, you know, so, I mean, you know, useful. And this is like a measurement thing, so you can enter like phase angles and voltages and stuff in these little movable windows. So you can move them wherever you want. They're actually completely independent of this. You know, if I minimize it, you can see those are still here. So, but let's see. But yeah, okay, but yeah, so, you know, it's like I said, this is a, you know, not really the best thing to look at on a spectrum analyzer per se, but, you know, it works. I mean, you can, you know, control which channels you have on by, you know, double clicking true versus false, and, you know, and you can, you know, double click to, you know, scroll through the, you know, 4 window options they have. And like I said, you know, if this were regular frequency, it actually puts these red bands here, which is kind of cool. That highlights the harmonics, you know, of a fundamental waveform. But again, I don't have one handy here since I unplugged the module and everything, screwing with this other stuff. But at any rate, let's see. You know, this is kind of useful because you can. Well, let me get rid of the spectrum analyzer here. This is kind of useful because if I can find what I did earlier. Let's see. I don't know where this is at. I think this is a different version of the software than I was using earlier. Oh, come on. Seriously? Come on. Piece of Windows crap. Okay. PC cache. Nah. I don't really see anything here. Let's try this one. These are the 2 versions I have. Really? Well, I don't know what happened to it. Oh, wait a minute. I do know what happened to it. Let me see. Nothing yet. Well, thought I knew what happened to it. Anyway, I had a picture that I grabbed that I was going to lay onto this, but I can't fucking find it. Well, anyway. Ah, here it is. That was lucky. At any rate, you can, you know, bring something like that on, turn it on, and it allows you to, you know, kind of act like an overlay. So it can come in handy. You see them using it in a couple of their transistor videos, so you can change its brightness. And you can't just drag it around, you know, you got to use these nudge bars, but, you know, you can nudge it very carefully in place, and I think that may, override the convenience of having, drag bars or whatnot, so, and you can change it to like gray if you don't want color in it for some reason. So the only thing that sucks about it is you turn it off and then turn it back on. Well, it resets itself, so that blows. But anyway, that could be useful sometimes. Not very often, probably, but. And this has to do with having multiple devices cascaded together, so that's a bunch of stuff I'm not that interested in because I don't have multiple devices. And here's a trigger menu, but you gotta, like, I don't know, stop the scope, I think, before this works. And I really haven't messed with it because I think this has got, okay. Now this, yeah, it works when the thing's stopped. So, you can set it up to a single. I don't know, it's waiting, but device isn't started. So I don't know. I mean, I really have not messed with it at all because it seemed a little, I don't know. Just something I just haven't messed with yet. So, there we go. Turn it back off. Back to normal. But I do have an external trigger function. If you look at the pinouts of the DB15 connectors, there is an external trigger. I have a feeling you can just actuate that with a logic signal instead of having to go out to, like, AliExpress and buy a $35 module with $7 in shipping. That's a bunch of horse shit. It does allow for high voltage inputs. That's a little expensive, in the greater context of things here. For a trigger module, I mean, the signal module you can find on eBay for generally pretty cheap. But anyway, you can, on this model anyway, set it by a pulse width triggering everything. Yeah, I really haven't messed much around with that because, you got to have a serious reason to do it, and I just haven't, really messed with it yet. These are for custom probes, and that's covered in the manual. I'm not all that interested in that. I mean, because you make custom probes for about anything, damn it. But it is kind of cool because you can set it up to operate, and you can dial it in from here and so forth. I mean, it's kind of a cool little feature. It might come in handy at some point. I'm just not that interested in it right now to where I'm going to really look into it. And then, I've already showed you logic panel, and this, this allows you to enable, the logic analyzer channels you want to see. So, so I can, have fewer if I want, and that gets you more screen area, that kind of thing. So, and here's another custom probe setting for this B channel. So you can have like current probes and stuff like that, and you can buy your own. I mean, I've got a Handtech probe and some other probes, EMC probes and that kind of crap that I could probably use with this thing if I really wanted to. But, you can use things like that with most scopes, although here you can calibrate it right in to your device, right in here, so that might be kind of nice, but still. Anyway, but let's see, and here allows you to, save, I don't know what this is saving, because there's actually sometimes multiple ways of doing things in here. Here's CSV. I don't know if this is saving the cache. I mean, probably not, because we tried doing that earlier. This is for calibration. I haven't actually messed with that yet. I think the device will calibrate itself or something. That's what it's for. I don't think that's for probe calibration, because it does have a little pin. Oops, accidentally press reset. Damn it. Yeah, they should put a "Are you sure?" pop-up box when you do that. FIR is a general purpose little filter, and you can actually use it, and they show videos of it in Chinese of you know, being able to use to filter your signals. And yeah, it's pretty versatile, although mine did crash on me a couple times messing with it. But it is kind of cool. You know, kind of limited, but, you know, you can use it as a band pass or a band low pass or a high pass, but just how you configure. It's actually configured as a low pass filter right now, although it's almost crossing, well, it's up to 20 megahertz there. And you got a band stop, so you can, you know, filter out a 60 hertz line hum or something. It's I don't know what order the filter is, but I mean, it's, you know, it's fur. I mean, I've got no idea, but at any rate, you know, like I said, I already talked about this, the serial thing, you know, for external programs, you know, or devices you can communicate with. And this is the PWM deal, which is, you know, I had that set up. Let's see. Since it reset everything, who knows? But I had it set up on, I think, this channel. So if I vary it, you know, this channel right here, you know, see a pulse getting wider and narrower. So it's kind of cool. You can change the frequency right here, although 200 hertz is as low as you can go. I don't know how high you can go, but you can set it up as a single pulse, although I'm not sure that I've observed that actually working properly or not. But kill that thing. Serial bus, etc. And this is single capture. This actually works in consort with this thing up here. So if you do a single capture, actually I don't think we're set up to capture anything though. I don't remember how that works. Let's see, how did that work? Channel A average. Oh, okay, so you let's see, channel A, E, I don't know, see if that works. Okay, click again, again, and again. You know, since it's a variable frequency because it's a signal, you know. But anyway, it allows you to single capture data manually, which I think I can see instances where that might come in handy. And again, you can pick from all these things, from these two different channels, you know, including phase, etc., that you can capture, and you can run, you know, curve fitting algorithms on it, and, you know, or at least try to. So, you know, at least very, very basic ones. So, but, and you can edit some of the points, you know, like delete your points and push back. I don't think you know, yeah, you can't just grab the points and drag them like you would expect, but that might be a good thing-ish, but oops, damn it. Yeah, I don't think it allows you to edit the data, but you can, like, delete it, I guess. I don't know, you know, this isn't really all that intuitive, you know, that probably deletes everything, you know. Anyway, but still it might be kind of useful. Again, it's quite crude. It's not up to the same level as most of the software here. Some of these things are rather crude. This, I think, is for remote control. I think you can control it over a network. This is, again, for those, you know, multiple units, which if you're rich, you can grab a bunch of those and go to town. And this, I think, might have something to do with that same thing, you know, serial communications. I did notice a switch that allows you to switch between USB and serial. Ostensibly, you can actually hook this up as a serial device somehow, but I don't know. I haven't seen any material that covers that, so that's a guess. But, and then you got these weird, like, histogram things, which if you know, they pop these kind of windows up based on, you know, whatever you want to, you know, it pulls up a different window for everything. So, you know, you can be pulling up windows till the cows come home. I'm not really quite sure what the value of that is yet. And, you know, statistics. This I kind of covered in a different video, you know, because you can set, you know, these things you want to look at, and then you go down to the statistics window here, and you can bring that up, and that's weird. Why do I put that there? Usually it puts this at the bottom. I wonder why it put it up here in the way. Huh. Maybe this is because it's the older version of the software. It's got a bug in it. I don't know. But at any rate, you know, allows you to record statistics for a while, and I'm not really sure what this is supposed to mean, because I don't see any real way of setting the time limit. But I know eventually it just stops for some reason, and then that's you know, that's all she wrote. But at any rate, you know, and this is for like actually I don't know what that's for. Let me see. See, there aren't really, there's tooltips on some of these things, but not nearly enough. You know, it's about mouse wheel, because, you know, if you scroll your mouse wheel, you can scroll it by time or voltage or whatever, and, you know, okay, that's fine. That allows you to turn the grids on and off, go to light or dark mode, you know, save the screenshot, I guess, and you know, take kind of a box measurement there, and this is for, you know, different kinds of cursor modes. So you got the static cursors, or you got your little active cursor, you know, as you see here on the screen. So let's see. But this is because I know you can put annotations somehow. Where the hell? I don't know. Oh, yeah, here they are. They're popping up here for some reason. Anyway, you can drag those around for what they're worth. Again, it'd be helpful if you could actually put notes on them. And then you take screenshots and publish them in a magazine or some shit. But yeah, I guess this is an annotation button. Yeah, that's the annotation button. Let's see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you know, you got this kind of, shit. Drag this thing down here. These things can be squirrely to drag sometimes. I mean, again, they do have some fucking bugs in here that really actually get pretty fucking annoying. Like I can't change the position of this because of whatever else is fucking going on here. So, and again, it's not changing to a hand or anything, so I can't drag it. You know, it's evidently stuck in cursor mode. See, I can't do anything other than this. You know, and there's a lot of things on here that are like that. You know, once you activate it, there's no way to turn it off. No way at all. Yeah, I mean, I can't get out of that mode. You know, I'm stuck in whatever mode. So all you can do is fucking reset it. You know, it's really, really crude crap. You know, really. I mean, if it weren't for the price, you know, if you're paying, you know, they're wanting $400 for this thing, I wouldn't pay it. It's just not. It's just got some shit in it that they shouldn't have. But again, if you're buying the $100 version or so, or even the version I got, you know, it's not bad because again, there's some nice things about this. But there are some really annoying little things in it that just like that, you know. But like, you know, when I use a signal generator, that's why I don't like having it plugged in, because sometimes it'll get stuck. You can't turn it off. It'll keep generating a waveform, and you got no way to turn the waveform off, you know, because once you activate it, well, you can't deactivate it. So, You know, you can switch to a different thing, but you can't turn any of this stuff off once you turn it on, and it'll keep generating a signal. But worse yet, it'll be when you can't change the frequency of or anything. The only thing you can do is unplug the device and reset it. It's again not very well implemented. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, you know, you have this thing like I mode, for example, which that's why I was trying to move things around so I could demonstrate that, but that's evidently not working at all, apparently. I don't know what some of this. Yeah, I mean, it's not generating anything at all. So, yeah, that's not impressive. It may be, again, this is an older version of the software. Here's the persistence thing. At least that's working. So the baseline, you know, adds or removes, you know, this blue line across here, so you can see where the 0 volt level is. Here's your, you know, coupling here. Let me turn on that stupid eyeball again. It just doesn't like to cooperate with the that in the way. Again. Yeah. Anyway, I've seen it work better with other signals. This is a little disappointing compared to what I've seen. But anyway, that pretty much covers it all. So, you know, good enough. I mean, you know, you got these sliders, which are, you know, for kind of zooming in on things and stuff, and it gets kind of confusing, this whole timing thing of theirs. Here, let me turn this persist mode off. But, you know, you can control the time scale in fine increments, which is kind of nice, because older oscilloscopes used to do that. Most of the digital ones these days, I don't think, do. I still don't really know what this box is for. You do have an automatic measurement setting, so, you know, it'll try to figure out a good voltage and frequency setting for you. Let's see, there's your probe compensation, so, you know, inversion, that kind of thing. But, you know, most of the stuff's pretty straightforward. It's got a 188-page manual, and, you know, it again isn't half bad, but, you know, it's a nice, I mean, for $100, I mean, if you're just starting in electronics, you can't beat that. And like I said, even, you know, paying $140 for the little better model, you know, it's like the cheaper version doesn't really have things like this in it or this in it, and I explained this in another video. You know, I explain all these controls in another video too, so, because I don't think they work properly on this edition of the software. But anyway, there is one thing that is kind of cool here too, a little bit cool, and that's this nail thing. That nail, you know, created a copy of the waveform the moment I pushed it, and it stays glued to the waveform. Now that's what this is supposed to do, because you can take a screenshot and bring it in, but when you do that, you know, here I'll show you what it does. If I can load it properly. I'll bet you it's the same thing I had on before. What do you bet? No, see what it does? It brings the borders in with it, so you can't actually use it. You know, in fact, you'll find a customer review video on Loto's actual YouTube channel, you know, from that guy from Portugal or whatever, but, you know, he complains about the same thing, that why the hell did you copy the borders in? Because you could use this as an overlay to try to compare against old signals, but with this crap on it, you really can't adjust it. So, you know, you can adjust it in that direction. You know, you could sort of adjust it that way, but, you know, you're as far to the left as you can go, so it's really useless for that. You know, I mean, it's an okay way to take screenshots, I guess, but there are other ways of doing that. But it's not good for taking screenshots and overlaying it, that's for sure. So, so yeah, that's kind of a waste. But this little thumbnail thing is kind of cool because, you know, you can, you know, delete it and then take a new one, delete it, take a new one. So, you know, I mean, I can see that being handy from time to time. But anyway, that's pretty much the extent of it. Cheers.